Welcome, dear students, to the distance learning program of Pakistan International School, Doha, Qatar. Let's continue with the reading explanation of Unit 1, that is his first flight, written by Liam O'Flaherty. Dear students, in your previous lesson, you learned about the brief introduction of the writer of this story. You also got to know about the central idea of the story, and you also learned the brief summary of this lesson as well. Whereas in today's lesson, we'll be doing reading and explanation of this lesson with meanings of difficult words. Well, following out the test and objectives of our today's lesson, that at the end of this lesson, you'll be able to understand feelings of fear, hesitation, thrill, and excitement before starting a new activity. You'll also be able to get acquainted with the activities of Seagull and his family. You'll also be able to deduce the meanings of unfamiliar words from the context and enhance your vocabulary, and will also be able to enhance your reading, thinking, and writing skills. Well, let's continue with the reading explanation of paragraph 1. The young seagull was alone on his ledge. Seagull means a seabird with long pointed wings. He was alone on his ledge. Ledge means a narrow shelf-like rock. His two brothers and his sister had already flown away the day before. How many brothers and sisters did the young seagull have, and when did they fly away from the ledge? He had two brothers and one sister who had flown away the previous day from the ledge. He had been afraid to fly with them. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid. Now, brink means edge. Attempted means tried. To flap means to move his wings to fly. So whenever it means that whenever he tried to flap his wings in order to fly away with his brothers and sister, he became afraid. The great expanse of sea stretched down beneath, and it was such a long way down, miles down. Expanse means vastness of sea, stretched means extended, down beneath means underneath. It means that he was afraid to see the vast expanse of sea beneath him. He felt certain that his wings would never support him. Instead, he was also uncertain whether his wings would support him or not. So he bent his head and ran away back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. Now, why did the young seagull fail to fly? The young seagull failed to fly because he did not have the confidence to fly. Number 2, he felt uncertain whether his wings would support him or not. Number 3, he was frightened, he was afraid, he had a great fear of flying away. Now, where did he run back when he was frightened to fly? He ran back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night whenever he felt scared of flying. Or even when each of his brothers and his little sister, whose wings were far shorter than his own, ran to the brink, flapped their wings, and flew away, he failed to muster up courage. Muster up courage means to gather courage to take that plunge. Plunge means leap, dive, or flight, which appeared to him so desperate. Desperate means despairing. Now, what appeared so desperate to the seagull? The seagull failed to gather the courage to take a plunge into the sea. This appeared so desperate to him. His father and mother had come around calling to him shrilly. Shrilly means in a sharp tone, upbraiding him. Upbraiding means scolding him angrily, threatening to let him starve. Starve means die of hunger on his ledge unless he flew away. What did the parents do when the young seagull failed to fly? His parents tried to make him fly by scolding him and threatening him to starve on his ledge. But for the life of him, he could not move. For the life of him means through trying desperately, means in spite of trying desperately, he could not move his wings to fly away. Well, dear students, it's now your turn to apply your understanding of paragraph number 1 and write answers to these in-text questions. There are 4 questions whose answers have already been discussed during reading explanation of the lesson. You are supposed to write answers to these questions and send them back to your teacher for checking. Alright, let's move ahead with the reading explanation of paragraph 2. That was 24 hours ago. Since then, nobody had come near him. How long was the young seagull alone without anyone near him? And why did he feel the heat? He was alone for 24 hours without anyone near him. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents flying about with his brothers and sister, perfecting them in the art of flight, teaching them how to skim. Skim means glide smoothly over the water surface, the waves, and how to dive for fish. How did the parents support and encourage the young seagull's brothers and sister? His parents were flying about with his brothers and sister. They were perfecting them in the art of flight. They also taught them how to skim the waves and how to dive for fish. He had in fact seen his older brother catch his first herring. Herring is an important food fish of the Northern Sea, and devour it. Devour means swallow it, standing on a rock, while his parents circled around raising a proud cackle. Cackle means chatter. Now, what was the first catch of the young seagull's older brother? The first catch of his older brother was a herring. And how were his parents appreciating him? They had circled around, and they were also raising a proud cackle in order to encourage him and in order to appreciate him for his first herring. And all the morning the whole family had walked about on the big plateau. Plateau is a wide leveled area of an elevated land midway down the opposite cliff, taunting. Taunting means mocking, criticizing him with his cowardice. Cowardice means lack of courage for a cause. So it means that all the morning all his family members, they had walked about on the big plateau, and from there they all were criticizing him, they all were mocking him, and they all were taunting him for being coward to make his first flight. Well, it's now your turn to apply your understanding of the text of paragraph 2. You are supposed to write the answers to these in-text questions and send them back to your teacher for checking and feedback. The answers to these questions have already been discussed during reading explanation of the lesson. I hope you remember. Alright, dear students, let's go ahead with the reading explanation of paragraph 3. The sun was now ascending the sky. Ascending means moving up, blazing on his ledge that faced the south. Blazing means burning on his ledge, burning brightly on his ledge that faced the south. He felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. Now, why did he feel the heat? He felt the heat because he was hungry and he had not been able to eat anything since the previous nightfall. Then he had found a dried piece of mackerel's tail at the far end of his ledge. Mackerel is the name of a fish. In in his out of his hunger, he tried to find anything to eat, and in that attempt, he found a dried piece of mackerel's tail, which was lying at the far end of his ledge, and he tried to eat that. Now there was not a single scrap. Scrap means a small piece of food left. He had searched every inch, rooting among the rough dirt-caked straw nest where he, his brothers, and his sister had hatched. Rooting means searching for food. Dirt-caked means covered with dirt. So it means that the young seagull had found a dried piece of mackerel's fish at the far end of his ledge. As the mackerel's fish was the last scrap of food, he searched every inch of the ledge, digging among the rough straw nest where he and his brothers and sister had been hatched. He even gnawed at the dried pieces of spotted eggshell. Gnawed means to bite. Spotted means dotted eggshell. Now, out of his desperate effort, he even tried to bite at the dried pieces of the spotted eggshell. It was like eating part of himself. Now, can you give an instance that shows the pathetic condition of the young bird? The young seagull had not eaten since the previous nightfall. There was not a single scrap of food left. He searched for food every inch of the straw nest. He even chewed at the dried pieces of eggshell to satisfy his hunger. He then trotted back and forth from one end of the ledge to the other, his grey body the color of the cliff, his long grey legs stepping daintily, trying to find some means of reaching his parents without having to fly. Trotted back and forth means moved to and fro. Daintily means elegantly. Now the young seagull, he ran back and forth from one end of the ledge to the other end. His long grey legs stepped daintily, and he was trying to find some means of reaching his parents without having to fly. But on each side of him, the ledge ended in a sheer fall of precipice. But it was not possible for him to reach his parents without having to fly. The reason being that on each side of him, the ledge ended in a very steep fall of precipice. Precipice means cliff with the sea beneath, and there was a vast sea beneath it. And between him and his parents, there was a deep, wide chasm. Chasm means a wide gulf, abyss, and above him he could see nothing. The precipice means cliff, was sheer, means it was very steep, and the top of it was perhaps farther away than the sea beneath him. Well, I hope you have understood reading and explanation of paragraph 3. Now it's your turn to apply your understanding in writing answers to these in-text questions. The answers to all of them have already been discussed during the explanation. You are supposed to write the answers. Well, thank you so very much for your passive listening. I hope you have understood the lesson quite fully. Now there is a little home task for you all. You are supposed to read text of the lesson again very carefully, focusing on the meanings and explanation of important points. Number 2, write down answers of all in-text questions and send their pictures to your teacher for correction and feedback. And number 3, learn meanings of difficult words and memorize important points of the lesson for assessment. Thank you very much and have a nice day ahead.